Hello and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about CSS Combinators. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you find this video useful, share it with someone else. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Also, if you want to support my channel, I am going to leave my PayPal link in the description below. Okay, so let's get started. To get started with CSS Combinators, I want you to go to the same website we've been using so far, which is w3schools.com. You'll go to the CSS section and you're going to scroll all the way down to where it says CSS Combinators. Now, as well, we are going to be using the same website we used in our last episode and the same code. The only thing I'm going to do here is clear out the body of our HTML element, and I'm also going to clear out all the style that we added in our previous chapter, just so we can start with a clean website, just like that. Okay, awesome. Okay, so starting with CSS Combinators, you need to learn how CSS Combinators work because sometimes you might want to apply the same style to different elements. And you can do this if you know how to use the combinators. So let's go into W3 Schools here and we're going to read a little bit first. So as you can see here, a combinator is something that explains the relationship between the selectors. We already know which are the selectors. If you don't remember that, go to our previous episodes and I will leave the link of that in the description below. So a CSS selector can contain more than one simple selector. Now, between simple selectors, we can include a combinator. So there are 4 different types of combinators in CSS, and here you have them. You have the descendant selector, which is just a space. Then you have a child selector, which is the arrow facing to the right. Then you have an adjacent sibling selector, which is just this sign right here. And the final one is a general sibling selector, as you can see here, which is this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to explain each one of them just so you can see how they work, and I will explain them with our code. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, which is the descendant selector. So the descendant selector matches all elements that are descendants of a specified element. So the following example selects all P paragraph inside of the div elements. So here you have, this is the element, right? So anything that is going to be inside of that element, which is a P element, will be having a background of yellow. So if you hit here, try it yourself, you will see the example. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to type the same example here and then I'm going to explain you once we're coding. Okay, so I'm going to copy all this that we have. And actually, let's even include the H2 so you can see how this will work. We're going to copy and paste this into our HTML code. I'm going to save this and we're going to go to our website and hit refresh. And there you go. So here we have an H2, then a couple of paragraphs and a division. Now the division is containing these 3 paragraphs, as you can see. We have 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and then you have a section with another paragraph. All those 3 are inside of the division. So we are going to apply this style. So you can copy and paste it just with the division first, so you can see what's going to happen. So I'm going to hit save. We're going to go back here and also hit save. And let's hit refresh. And boom, as you can see right now, the entire division has a background color of yellow. Now, with a descendant selector, if we go ahead and we go to our code, and here after the division, we give a space. The space is the descendant selector. We go ahead and we use the letter P, which stands for all P elements inside of that divisions. What this is going to do is that it's going to apply the background of yellow to all the P elements inside of that division. Okay, so let's hit save now and let's go back to our welcome page and let's hit refresh. And boom, as you can see, now each paragraph has a background color of yellow because we are what we are coding here is saying to our website, hey, I want all P elements inside of this division to have the background of yellow, and that's because we are using a space between div and the p elements. Okay, so I hope that is clear and that makes sense to you. Remember, if it doesn't, leave your questions in the comment section below. I will reply as soon as I can. So that's how the descendant selector, which is the space, will work. Now let's go to the next one, which is the child selector. The child selector selects all the elements that are a children of a specified element. So here we have an example. I am going to hit here where it says try it yourself. And we are going to see a couple of examples here with the child selector using the following code. So I'm going to go back to our page because we are going to use exactly the same. Okay, going back to our page, I'm going to clear the previous content we wrote, and also I'm going to clear the style we gave to this. Okay, let's go back to our page and hit refresh. Perfect. Okay, so let's close the descendant selector so we don't get confused. I'm going to copy all the paragraphs, okay, and the H2, just so you see that this is the child selector. Let's hit save, going back to our page, hitting refresh. There we go. So now we are talking about the child selector. So as you know, you have a, right now here, a division, okay? This is a division. This is a section, and this is another division. So you might be wondering which are the child inside of this division. Well, here on H2, this is considered a parent element, right? Because it's not inside of another element. Now this P tag, it's also a parent. This one, it's a parent, and the children's that this division has will be the following. This P tag, then you have another P tag, then you have a section. This section is a child. However, this is not the child of the division because it's inside of the section. So it'll be the child for the section, not for division. Not for the division, so pay close attention to that, okay? And then here we have another child for this division, then the division is closed, and then here we have another parent element, and this is another parent element. So there is a lot of parents without any kids, and the only parent that has a kid, we could say that is the division, right? Because it has a whole bunch of P and a section tag, right? So I hope that makes sense. So now the child selector, what it does is that it's going to select all the childs inside of the division, okay? So how do we apply the child selector? Very simple. The only thing we're going to use is this arrow right here, okay? So going back to our code, we're going to go back to the style folder, and we're going to call all divisions, right? We're going to select all divisions. We are going to apply to all the divisions. Let me just go ahead and apply. This one has a background color of yellow. So let's do background color, in this case. Let's just make it blue to see it a little bit different. Okay, so let's hit save. Going back to our code, let's hit refresh. And boom, I just applied a blue style to all the divisions so that you can see which is the division. So we have paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is the entire division, right? Including children's and grandchildren's. Okay, so if we scroll a little bit down here, what we see that we are going to use now is the child selector, and then we're going to call only the children's of the divisions, okay? So coming back here to our code, I am going to use the child selector, which is this one right here, and then I'm going to call all the children's with a P tag inside of this division, okay? Remember, only the children's. I'm not talking about grandkids, okay? So let's hit save, and now I'm going to hit refresh. And boom, as you can see now, you have 1, 2, and 4 Those are the childs inside of this div. Now you might be wondering why, if we have 4 paragraphs that were selected before inside of the division. And I hope that you understand this by now, but I will give one more explanation about this. And it's due to the fact that the only children's are p tags and then a section. However, inside of that section, we have another p element, but we consider the section as a children, and then the p inside of that section will be the children of that section, not the children of the division. So that's why this paragraph doesn't have a background color of blue. Okay, the only ones that are considered kids will be this one, and this one right here. Okay, this one right here inside of the section, it's not. So I hope that's clear. Remember, for questions, leave them in the comment section below. Okay, so that's how the child selector works. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one will be the adjacent sibling selector. And for this, we're going to use the plus sign. Okay, so the adjacent sibling selector is used to select an element that is directly after another specific element. That's what is considered siblings, okay? So siblings elements must have the same parent element, and adjacent means that it's immediately following. So the following example is going to show you how this works. So let's hit here where it says try it yourself. And I am going to, again, clean my code here so that you can see what this code is going to do. Okay, and then you can go ahead and actually practice on your own. Okay, so let's hit save in both windows and let's hit refresh. Okay, perfect. So now let's close the child selector. And let's go ahead and speak about the adjacent sibling selector. First thing we will do is the same thing. We're going to copy all H2s, all the paragraphs, everything. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I will paste it. So as you can see, we have a lot of information here. So adjacent, remember, it means that it's going to, the style will be applied to everything that is after the sibling. Okay, so it's going to be applied to all siblings after a specific sibling. So here is how this is going to work, because a sibling is considered an element that is next to another under the same parent. So pay close attention to that and let's go ahead and code along. So here we're going to use the division as a selector, and then we're going to call all the adjacent siblings with a P element, and we're going to apply a background of yellow. So going back here, let's go ahead and let's call the division first. Say, okay, so the division is going to have a background color this time of pink, just because I want it to be pink, okay? So let's hit save and let's go back here and let's hit refresh. Oops, but by the way, you need to make sure you hit also refresh on the other window. So there you go. As you can see here, we have two divisions. This is the first one and this is the second one, because right now I am only applying the background color of pink to the divisions. Okay, so here in this example, we are going to be applying a background color of pink to all P elements. So here, let's go back to our code here just so you can see how this is going to work out. So here, as you can see, this is a division, and then here we have the other division. Okay, so as soon as I go ahead and I add the plus and then I apply this only to P elements, if I hit save now and then I hit refresh, you see what just happened? Only paragraph number 3 and number 7 has the style applied, the background color of pink. Now you might be wondering why, if there are a whole bunch of paragraphs inside of each division. Remember that when I said sibling is not a children, right? It has to be like a brother or a sister. So in this example right here, as you can see, this is the division, okay? So after that division, we should apply, right? We should apply the color pink to this paragraph, okay, because it's the one that is next to the division, not to this one. This is a children. The brother or sister could be this one, okay, because it's right after that division. And as you can see here in the code, it's not paragraph 1 nor 2, which are inside of the division. It's paragraph number 3. Now to paragraph number 4, there is nothing being applied because we are using an adjacent sibling selector, meaning that we are only applying the style to the sibling that is right next to the division, but not to all paragraphs, right? Only the one that is after the division, okay? Now here we have another division, right? Then the sibling will be these two. But the adjacent one is going to be only paragraph number 7. So that's the reason why only paragraph number 3 and number 7 has a background color of pink when we go ahead and we use the adjacent sibling selector. Okay, so again, I hope this makes sense. If you want to try it out, feel free to go ahead and use it in your code and practice, because that's the best way that you're going to understand this a little bit better. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to close this right now, and we're going to see the last one we're going to talk about in today's episode, which is the general sibling selector. Okay, so we already saw how to apply to the adjacent sibling, right? So the general sibling selector is going to select all the elements that are next to siblings of a specific element. So here is an example. If I hit here, try it yourself. Okay, I am going to use the same code that we used before. I'm not going to use this one. What I'm going to do now, it's only apply the general sibling selector. Okay, so that you know how this is going to look like. So let's go back to our code. And then remember how this is looking like right now. Paragraph number 3 and number 7 are the only ones that has the background of pink applied. Now I am going to change the combinator, and we are going to apply the general sibling selector. Okay, so here we go. There we go. Let's hit save, and now I'm going to hit refresh. And voila. Now what is happening is that we are saying to our code, hey, I want all divisions, all P elements after the divisions to be pink. Not only the adjacent P, but all P's that are siblings of the division, right? So the siblings of each division will be paragraph 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. Why? Because if we go back to our HTML code, you see here there is a division. Then this division has one sister and one brother. We could say it like that. I mean, 2 siblings, right? Then here is another division, and this division also has 2 siblings. Okay, so that is what the general sibling selector will do. It's going to apply certain style to all the siblings of a certain element. In this case, we chose the division to show you this example. Okay, so that's how simple you can work using selectors. Now, I hope this has been super clear for you. Honestly, in this episode, the only thing that I will recommend you to do is practice using the combinator selectors so that you can go ahead and you can see how they work. You have here all that we use today, the space, we have here the arrow, and then we have these other 2 signs in here. So that way you're able to practice. Going into W3 schools, practice on your own code, do things that you haven't tried before, and if you have questions, leave them in the comment section below so I can help you out. Okay, so that was it for this video, everyone. I hope this has been super useful. If it was, remember to share my video with somebody else that I can help. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye everyone, and see you again in the next episode.